One person's going to start us off. We're going to start off where it says, ideological oppression is. I want you to start reading in 3. Who's going to read first? I want you to start reading in 2. 1, go for it.
Who's going to read first?
Good, Damien. That's right.
Ideological oppression is the idea.
Good, Matthew. Anna, Alex. Good, Andy.
It tells people that one group is the right way to be. Dominant group associate positive traits with itself and negative traits with the others.
Good, Anthony.
Systems and policies that are
Good,
built
Bustos.
upon the idea of one group being better, thus that group then has increased power, access, hard to see because it is embedded,
White people are considered
embedded in our society. Also is produce result that reinforce that dominate, right? Narrative.
Increased power, access. Hard to see because it is embedded in our society. Also, it produces results that reinforce the dominant narrative.
Good, Christopher.
oppression.
Most characters of the
Moment.
Microaggressions.
Good, Jacob.
Bullying, harassment.
Anna, Desiree.
Equals between interpersonal meanings between people could also be companies, organizations acting this out.
The oppressed groups begin to believe that they are less. Oh, this is internalized racism or oppression. I mean,
Good, David.
the oppressed groups begin to believe that they're less than or inferior. They buy into the false narrative. Never the oppressed group's fault that they have internalized oppression. And I'm going to read the example of that as well. Black people calling out others for acting white as if they do well in school or speak academic English. Immigrants embarrassed about their accent. Trans women feeling like they can't be a real woman, and women dragging other women for their attire if it is not in line with the norm,
Good, Andy.
dressing like a slut slash oh. But anyways,
Your example?
it's personal.
The oppressed groups begin to
believe that they are less than or inferior. They buy into the false narrative. Never the oppressed group fault that they have internalized oppression. Example: Black people calling out others for acting white if they do well in school or speak academic English.
Good, Matthew.
Immigrants embarrassed about their accent. Trans women feeling like they can be a real woman.
Right on, ladies.
And women dragging
And then
other
check in
women
with each
for
other.
their
What'd you get for number
attire
1?
if it is not in the line with the norm, dressing like a slut slash hoe.
recognition.
People of color.
Alright, answer the question. What is primary characteristic of ideological oppression?
Good.
In America,
I think it's C, Loki.
Yeah, I think it is a belief that one group is superior to another. Others ideological oppression.
Do we do this one after, or should we just ask the questions first?
I think we should just answer it.
And then 2, institutional oppression. Which of the following best describes
All
institutional
right,
oppression?
right on. So we're all done now? Okay, the reading part is done. And now, let's see what we got here. Number 1. What
think
is
it's
the
B.
primary characteristic of ideological oppression?
What is it? Damien?
Need a pencil?
You just read it.
Okay, good. Check in with each other.
That group then has increased power access. It's hard to see because it is embedded in our society.
Good, yes.
Also,
Check in with each
produces
other.
results that reinforce the dominant narrative. And one example is most characters on TV and in movies are white. This is a dominant narrative. Black women 4 times more likely to die in childbirth. iPhone facial recognition makes more mistakes with POC, Jim Crow laws, and white
Yeah,
supremacist
so it's
culture.
like the norm basically, or the
What do you put for number 2?
the institute the basis of the racism.
Yes.
Institutional racism
Good. All right. What number are we on now? Number 3. Okay. Are you guys checking with each other? Make sure you get it?
Policies
Yeah. Good. Good.
that are built on an idea. This,
Oh, good, Alex. I like that reference in the text right there.
I think we have to make our own examples. So, one,
This
two,
another one is that schools. Schools, it's less likely to graduate.
Institutional oppression. Which of the following best describe institutional oppression? It is hidden within societal systems and policies. In what ways can institutional oppression be hidden within societal systems and policies? This is a specific policy or practice that exemplifies this oppression.
All right. Good. And it
in
looks
the
like we're
reading it
checking
says,
in.
like,
On number.
in TV or movies. So we could put like an example of institutional oppression TV shows or movies.
Yeah, like in TV shows and movies that white people are portrayed as better, while also that people of color in like TV shows are often like portrayed as negatively, like being like labeled as criminals and stuff like that.
I like those specific examples right there. Good job, team.
Yeah, specifically words or actions. Yeah, there's like actual things. So they're super easy to notice. So, Justin, reread yours maybe so you can get a better understanding of it.
Do you get institutional?
Yeah.
That's the hardest one. Okay. Good luck, Bustos.
How do you pronounce this better again?
4 eyes.
Yeah, I was right. 4 eyes, bro. Damn, bro.
Uh-oh. So how does ideological oppression influence beliefs about different cultural, social, or racial groups? What's an example for this ideological oppression?
White people.
They're thinking that they're superior.
One more time, Luis.
White people in America think that they're better than everyone else.
Okay.
So showing superiority, that they're better.
And
Other races.
mhm. All right. So I think that would go right over there, like what Luis said. And I see that in the example over here too. Good. Okay. And then Damon, you start us off at number 2 when you're ready.
I'm not even done with number 1.
Because it says same person is in a racist in a social setting, which
This one's yours.
can be
I believe in you,
like racial slurs. So that's
Right on. I like what I hear.
And what way?
That's like institutional racism because it's like we're all living in the institution of this country, you know?
It's like a business.
Yeah, it's like any business, any government, any school, anything that's big and powerful.
All right. So let's see number 1 over here. What is the primary characteristic of ideological oppression?
I think everyone should do a different one than the one they read, just to prove that they understand all of
Ooh,
them.
I like that.
So I can do the first one for ideological, unless anyone else wants to do ideological and they all feel confident.
I like it. There's one for each of them.
Does anyone feel confident in particular about the first one? Yeah, I'll do it. So, because
All right, all right.
Yeah, we're all doing it.
Okay. So, what is the primary characteristic of ideological oppression? It's based on laws and policies. It involves personal interactions or comments, and it is the belief that one group is superior to the other. From the word ideal, yeah, it's him. Oh yeah. From the word ideal,
Because like he's more like
B in yes, and then A is more like C. The second one, this one. So yeah, it's C because of the word ideological, which shows me that means idea.
Damien's asking for a
How does
specific
ideological
example of movies
oppression
now.
influence
Oh,
beliefs
dear.
about cultural, social, and racial groups? Okay, so I'll provide the example of the fact that
Good.
people
Keep working
fear
hard.
that gay
About
men are
5 more
child
minutes. Time
molesters.
check. Okay, we have number
Um,
3 over here. Number 3.
You put that.
And take a peek at
Yeah.
yours. What are some common
The
examples
facts
of
that gay
interpersonal
people
oppression that
Oh.
individuals may experience in everyday life? Interpersonal oppression.
are
We
labeled
got some
child
examples
molesters.
right here. Oh, you got number 3 already, NIE. Oh my gosh. Okay. Share it with your peeps.
Is a method
I like the collaboration here.
Um, so other people basically
Okay, number 3. What are some common examples of interpersonal
other
oppression?
people like in their same group, like others that they're not
Well, give us an example.
Like it says
And
right
also,
here,
people in these marginalized groups have,
Okay.
they believe that
Yeah.
they're here, basically makes it worse, I guess. Also because
why?
they don't have like the confidence.
I heard what Damien said. What
so
do you
it
say,
brings their
Anthony?
confidence down when
has to do with something with like racist jokes.
I was just thinking about it, but
Yeah, same thing, bro.
I think it could be both.
like for example, like for some examples about
I think it could
people
be
in
both.
marginalized
Pop it
groups
in there.
being like pit against each other, basically it causes like
They're acting.
word people
Yes. You want to do it? You want to lead the way to answering number 2?
not being like together, I guess.
so like they like
Or, like pitted against each other.
and are also like some people like call other people like
if you want to break
whitewash.
down
Yeah.
institutional oppression,
Yeah, that's an example, right? Yeah.
policies that are being oppressed.
Good. I like what I hear.
Societal systems, you can pick any societal system. That'll make it easier. Okay, you just pick a societal system, like school or government, or you could just pick the policy, right? So either pick a policy or pick a societal system, and it'll make it a lot easier.
Afraid of their, it could be afraid of their culture. Afraid of their culture.
What does that mean?
So it's like, because obviously a lot
Or
of these places they don't want to show
Yeah.
their
basically
oppression.
their
So like,
identity.
how do they
So
hide
like,
it?
how do they hide it?
Like
Yeah.
kind of scared to like express their
If you just pick a system or a policy, it'll like
themselves.
be a lot easier.
So there's
So we
a
can go on
school
from that.
example. There's like a business example. There's a, I think,
Government.
a government. When I think of the government, like what group is being
Right here?
attacked right now? And yeah. And so what policy is attacking Hispanics?
Not only what policy, but how is it being hidden? You know how they're saying that like that it's because of the drugs that are being smuggled into the government. We can write about that.
They're just like trying to justify
Okay, should we
it.
move on
Yeah,
to
that's their way of
the
justifying it
last
or
one?
hiding it. You know.
So that would be an example of institutional oppression. That's right.
How do the 4 eyes of oppression
So we got that.
exist in our school community? Provide specific
All
examples
right.
of
Are you in the
direct
backside
evidence
already?
or personal experience.
Nava?
Number 2, reflect on the concept of internalized
Well,
oppression
that's
and how
why
it impacts
over here you can make connections.
individuals' self-esteem and identity.
Okay. Anthony, read it first, please. How does
Counter-react internalized oppression with marginalized communities.
Anthony? How does? Whose is it?
That's Louis.
Oh,
Does
Luis.
internalized oppression affect the self perception of individuals from marginalized groups? Explain how these can create challenges in their personal or professional lives.
Hmm.
An example would be black people calling out others for acting white, or immigrants embarrassed about their accents.
Okay. Let's think of one of those, and then we can explain how this can create challenges in their personal professional lives. Which one do you want to focus on?
Jobs. In jobs, accents could be hard to hear or to listen to. Sometimes
Or
they
to understand.
affect. Yeah.
Well, this is what kind of oppression are we talking about here? Internalized. So that's of somebody thinking about themselves, right? So, right, the belief that like
They're inferior.
yes, and that the way they talk is not cool.
Yeah,
And so, how is that going to affect them in a professional setting?
Discouraged to use their
Yeah, that's right. And that's a belief that they have that's internal, right? All right, we should be putting our notes down on that last one, the discuss. Pick one or two. All right.
What do you mean pick one?
On the numbers, on the last one, very last on the back. It's gonna ask you to pick one or two. Okay, but let's see. Where are we over here? Number
We're on
three.
the number 2 so far. We haven't done all of them yet.
Okay.
We can finish up pretty quick though.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You got this.
I'll just do these for us, just to go faster. Interpersonal, racist joke.
Which one are you gonna pick? One
What
or
are common
two?
examples of interpersonal oppression?
Which one did you pick, Alex? One or
I'll
two?
just say like saying the N word.
I
They're
picked
saying slurs. I'm just saying
One.
things.
Okay. Circle it.
Saying racial
Gabbers picked one.
slurs.
Lorel, what about you? Oh, she got it already.
Period. I'm gonna say
Oh, you sneaky. I
can
couldn't
be
see it under
harmful
there.
towards
Okay. All right.
the recipients.
By judging someone, but internalized is when we think of it
I'll
ourselves.
just say recipients instead.
Like we believe what other people are saying about us, right? So that internal
You can just
ideas
write
that
like
we
saying
have about
racial
ourselves
slurs.
that are negative.
No.
How's that
Just to
gonna?
not write
Which
everything.
one is this?
Since
How
I'll
does
have it
that
down on
gonna
my
affect
paper
ourselves,
anyways.
this our identity? If we believe those awful things that people are saying.
Yeah, it could be. Internalized oppression. What does internalized oppression refer to? The structure systems that
Like one of the
favor dominant
examples the other
groups,
group was
the
talking about,
beliefs
they
held by the
said,
dominant
"Oh,
group about
if I have
themselves,
an
or the
accent,
acceptance of oppressed groups
and
that they are
I think that
inferior."
accent is
See.
like
How does
makes me look
internalized oppression
inferior.
affect the
How's that
self-perception
gonna
of
affect their
individuals
job?
from marginalized groups?
How's
Explain
that
how
gonna
this
affect
can
their
create
performance in the
challenges
job?
in their
What are they less
personal
likely to
or
do?
professional lives. So I guess the idea
Right? Yeah,
that
talk,
Hispanics
make
can't
friends, share
like be
ideas. Like that's
smart
gonna big
or
time
stuff
affect
like
their
that,
ability.
that can lead to
So it's
a lot
because
of
of
them
their
not
own
wanting to
belief.
go to college.
They're believing
So I'll write that.
what people are saying about them.
The belief
Yes. After you finish that part, okay.
that
Oh my
Hispanics
gosh, the heck, you contagious over there? What the heck?
can't
Yes.
be smart.
All right, last 30 seconds. Let's make sure we get that discussion question part. Which one are we going to do, one or two? This table, what are you going to do, one or two? Read them over.
Few Hispanics going to
Matthew,
college.
which one did you pick over here, one or two?
I picked one.
One.
I use internalized oppression.
Okay, what did you say about that?
I put in diverse schools, marginalized kids can get but feel like.
All right. So which one do you guys like? Like, which one of these do you guys like? Internal? Oh, I mean, I guess you guys probably don't like any of them, but which one do you guys think you guys have the best chance?
Yeah.
Number 4.
And how do you see that happening at A or
Internalized
B?
I like that one too.
4 or
I don't think
4 or 1 are gonna be
not as
the
diverse.
ones
Mhm.
that probably good.
All right. What about you, Christian or Justin? You don't
Right.
mind?
But
Christian, you
people
have
get
one that you
bullied
like
for
more?
things that are other than nationality, right? So maybe that's a good thing that's not an issue at our school. But I wonder if there are other forms of bullying that happen. I'm gonna ask you that. So think about it. What other kinds of bullying might happen not related to race? Okay? Go for it.
I'm guessing one form could be ableism
Mm-hmm.
or or talking bad about people who are on the spectrum or
Okay. So exactly, there are different forms, kind of like what Matthew was saying, but maybe not specifically related to race. So ableism, if someone's on the spectrum,
homophobia.
Mm-hmm. Those would be examples of which kind of oppression are we talking about here?
Ideological.
Interpersonal.
So I think that if we're specific, what kind of examples are we going to say? How do we see homophobia on campus?
We see it through interpersonal oppression or people saying like slurs.
Okay, a slur. What would that be?
Or
Which one of these?
interpersonal.
Interpersonal, yes. So that would be a good example. And then you said ideological. What's the idea?
Like people that aren't homosexual, they could think they're better than actual homosexuals. Like, they just think they're better.
So one they feel is superior than the other.
Yeah.
Okay. And when we talk about homophobia, we say that which one? What's the idea there? That what is better than what?
Being straight, I guess.
Yes, is better than.
Homosexual.
Okay. So that being an example of homophobia, and that's ideological.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Good. All right. Last 10 seconds. You're gonna tell your groups. Thank you very much. You're gonna turn your seats back in a regular formation.
So you have to pick one of these?
Yeah. Which one you gonna pick?
I'm not sure. 'Cause this one seems like more writing. This one seems like
Okay, so the first one says, how do 4 eyes of oppression exist in our school community? Provide specific examples. So you could pick one and do it, or this one, reflecting the concept of internalized oppression. How might this impact individual self-esteem?
Wait. So we could just pick one of these? We don't have to write about all of them?
So for question number 1?
Yeah.
Yes, you can pick one and then give a specific example.
Oh, then that one's better. Yeah.
That's connected to our school community. Is that what you're going to pick, number 1?
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. And then which one are you going to do? Ideological, institutional, interpersonal?
Probably.
That's why you pointed that one right away. Okay, cool. All right. Tell your groups, thank you very much. Let's get back in regular formation. All right. Let's bring it up here in 3. Eyes over here in 2. Face down with 4 legs on your desk and 1. All right. Let's go to the back side so we can be able to look at some of the discussion questions. Question number 1. How do the 4 eyes of oppression exist in our school community? Provide specific examples from current events or personal experiences. So how do we see these kinds of oppressions happening in our school community? One group I was talking about said, well, that kind of bullying in the form of race or nationality doesn't really happen in our school because most of us are Latinos anyway. And I was like, okay, but are there different kinds of oppression that happen in our school that might not be related to race? So I'm going to have Matthew start us off. Matthew, what were some of the things you talked about for question number 1? Right, because I think at your table we were saying that probably not a nationality. What else do we talk about? So interpersonal, ideological, and an example would be homophobia. Can you give us an example of that interpersonal or ideological? How might it look, or how do we see it at our school? Okay, so in the context of like homophobia, that would look like saying something negative, right? Calling them a name or making a joke. All right. Thank you, Matthew. Number two, I believe that was Jacob's group. Jacob had number 2. And number 2 said, reflect on the concept of internalized oppression. How might this impact individual self-esteem and identity? What steps can be taken to counteract internalized oppression within marginalized communities? Go for it, Jacob.
This might impact individual self-esteem and identity by making them feel ashamed about their looks and behavior. And if they believe the words spoken about them, they'll try to hide the embarrassing parts of their identity.
And can you give an example of how that might impact somebody's, like, a part of somebody's life, like maybe working on the job or the professional life?
Well, if they're like made fun of about like their behavior and how they speak, they're more likely to like try to like not speak and like try to hide away. I guess.
Yeah, and to be able to speak in your job is something that's important, right? And if you have internalized depression, you're believing these things that other people are saying, it's going to make you less likely to speak and perform to the best of your ability. So why are we talking about these? These, remember, are a type of injustice. So in your project, you're going to be talking about justice. We covered justice last week, but I threw these on there just to remind you the different types of justice we talked about. In your project, you're going to take a picture that represents one of these types of justice in your own life. It could be justice, right, over here, or it could be injustice that you experience in our community, in your life. So one of those. Remember, I know this is last week, but I just want to remind you, we talked about social justice over here too. So there, you could pick, do you want to share an image about justice, or do you want to share an image about injustice? It's your choice, and then you'll break it down and make those connections. This is how it connects to what we learned about justice or injustice. I want to show you an example here, but I think we should take a brain break first, and then we'll get into the photo voice project. All right. Before we take a brain break, though, can we fold this hamburger style? We're going to put this in the next fresh page of the notebook. Yeah, thank you.